So 2000 gs400 just got towed in about an hour ago. I pushed it in. This thing is heavy. It has like 20-inch rims on this car. It came from another shop, and I hate, unfortunately, when I pop the hood open, I see this stuff here, and I don't like that. So maybe that's not our problem. This has it has a crank no start. From what the shop told me, they crank it, it hits, it starts and it shuts down immediately. All right, no big deal. My biggest concern is that if there's possibly compression issues, that's what I'm afraid of, or timing, because I don't want to do a timing belt or anything. I don't know what's wrong with this, and that's why I'm just cutting this camera on to see what I'm up against, the process in which I'm going to have to follow through in efforts to get this resolved. So they put a fuel pump, 2 fuel pumps on it. The guy put a used one on it, the original owner. The shop put a fuel pump on it, and I want to say they put a change of throttle body, because he said there's a throttle body in the vehicle. So I don't know what else is going on with it. What's this? We got some. I hate butt connectors. I'm gonna leave if all this stuff if those are irrelevant, I'm gonna leave those alone. I don't think they want to pay to get it fixed. So we're just diagnosing it today. Let me set the camera up. Let's see what it sounds like when we turn on, and then we can go through the basic strategy to resolve this issue. I see they got a fuel pressure regulator replaced too. Parts were just thrown at it. Let's see if we can fix this without throwing any parts at it. Explore all options and see if it stays running when I press the accelerator. Nope. You can feel the throttle pushing back too, because it's electronic throttle. I think we're dealing with throttle body issues. I don't know if I want to pull codes first or put a supplemental fuel in it. Let me put a supplemental fuel in it and see if it stays running longer, and then I'll check codes. I honestly feel as though this is a waste of time, because we might be dealing with a shorted coil, because I swear I've had this happen before with the coil shorting out at a connector with the igniter circuit. But I'm just going to exhaust my options just to see if there's a supplemental fuel issue. They got a new PCV valve on there also. Some brake cleaner. It's the hot sauce of mechanic in the hot sauce in the mechanic industry. Put that stuff on everything. Whoa, that was better. That was way better. Hell yeah, that was really good. You see how long it ran? I'm gonna spray a little bit more in there. We might be dealing with mass airflow. If that's the case, I'll spray a generous amount in there and see how long it stays running now. Ah, that was a lot. I mean, it's better. But whatever it is deactivating the fuel system. That's what it seems like. Don't go that way, man. Let me rev it up. So we're evidently getting some fuel shut off, mass airflow. This is loose. I'm going to check codes. I just want to see what I can do to get it running initially. I hate this one. So this was, I'm going to check the mass airflow definitely. Just to spray it directly. Oh, God darn it. I hate the way this throttle body's set up. then I can disconnect the throttle. I'm sorry, I can disconnect the mass airflow and see how it responds. Let me disconnect the you know what? Nope. Check codes first before I do anything else. Check codes. I'm just trying, like what will happen typically, I just keep doing it until I get a pattern or if it runs better. And see, because I've had some vehicles work just from encouraging it to start up. But usually with the Lexus, it'll shut down if there's something wrong with the ignition circuit, if I recall, because it'll shut the igniter off and then it'll screw some things up. Let me go ahead and check codes, clear those codes, and address immediate comebacks. So let's go ahead and go through the strategy. Because of the age of it, I'm just going to go to the generic portion because it's easier to read and it's going to be a lot more responsive. So I'm thinking, I really think that's what we're dealing with. The injections, not an injection, but something shorted out maybe. I think it's probably what we're dealing with. And the car is going to be able to tell us what it's not happy with. I don't think it could be a crank sensor issue. I don't know. I know it kind of sounds weird that we got fuel and fire. Oh, no codes. What? The car is not that intelligent to determine what's going on with itself. Ooh. Interesting. That's the problem with working on with old cars. Now you gotta, your strategy really is going to tell on itself. So, okay, give me a second. Let me figure out some sort of game plan, because I mean, that is, something's missing. And well, how about this? Maybe we can look at live data and maybe like the mass airflow values may be off, because it seemed like a mass airflow. It could be that long-term, short-term, open loop. Look at that. Okay, so let me see if I can blow on this. So we got, yeah, look at that. We probably might be dealing with some mass airflow issue. Could we? Let me blow on it. I could wave my hand around it, and it should change. Let me do this. Let me just take the air box loose, wave it around. Let's put this right here. I'm gonna blow directly inside of there and see if it makes any changes. But is the mass airflow new? It looks new. Let me see. Yeah, I'm blowing on it. It's not even changing. Usually they're pretty sensitive and they'll change. This is not changing. Let's disconnect the mass airflow and see if it runs. But it looks new. But it might be aftermarket, but there's no name on it. It just looks generic. I imagine we'll have like a branding name on it, but they changed a lot of stuff on it. So that was one, and then they changed spark plugs and stuff. So I did disconnect it, and it went from 0.39 grams per second, from 0.37 to 0.39. Let's start it up. Oh, that's way better. Look at that. Ha. Oh shit. Yep. So we're dealing with mass airflow issue. That didn't take nothing but 10 minutes to figure this out. Cool. How does the throttle respond? Oh hell yeah. Aftermarket part? Bad new part? Shit. How do I confirm that though? So the thing is, we had an ambient air temp sensor value. So if we had an ambient air temp sensor value, that's the indication we had continuity, but our signal wire wasn't working. So we need to change or alter the signal that the PCM detects. So let's go in. No. Nope. Remember, it was at 0.37 before I disconnected it, and then it changed. Let me hook it back up and see what happens. So we're gonna put the air box back. Filter looks like. Yeah, it's bad. It is pretty bad, actually. But I mean, I've seen some bad looking filters, but I just doubt a restricted oil filter is going to cause this. So, and here's the inside of the housing. That will be a new for me if this filter is restricted and causing some issues. So I'm gonna plug in, I'm gonna put this back, and we're gonna put the intake hose back. We're going to plug this in and see if the value changes. So it's at 0.39 now. Let me see if it'll zoom in on it. Let's see what happened. I'm about to plug it in right now, and then it shuts down. We got air intake temp, and the value hasn't changed. This looks like a bad brand new part. Interesting. So they got everything off of Amazon, and this kind of been the ongoing discussion from the stuff that I've done with new parts and aftermarket parts. I'm still a proponent of aftermarket world, but this seems like it's just a bad new part. If they got off eBay or Amazon, I can find that out from the shop. But I want to know if I can alter this signal here. So I'm gonna have to pull a wiring diagram and see if I can pull this down. I think what I'll probably be able to do is just take a test light and just go around and check all the pins and see if it makes a change. Because it should have a default value, and I just pull it all the way down to ground depending on how this works. I don't know how this system works. So let me just do a test light method first. And if it changes, then it shows that there's continuity from here to there from a signaling aspect. And we just lightly got a bad new part. But I should check my powers and grounds going to the mass airflow sensor, especially being that this stuff here is going on. So they probably shorted something out, killed a voltage reference, but I doubt it. Let's see if any codes popped up since we actually got it running. We should have a mass airflow sensor code now. If it do, then that's an indication that we do have circuit integrity. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, so if we got mass airflow sensor code, but it doesn't generate when it's plugged in, the circuit integrity is fine. Bad new part. So I don't know it ain't worth testing anything else. Need to put a mass airflow sensor in here. Because I'm a royal screw up, I'm gonna check my circuit. I'm gonna check behind myself. Because all the context clues justify a mass airflow sensor being bad. And again, there was no code when it was plugged in, but there's a code when it's unplugged. It has a circuit integrity code. So now I went to, did it go to, okay, so that's a default value, 0.39 grams per second. Let's see what we do. I don't know where I'm going. We gotta have power because yep, there's a power source. And it's probably not gonna populate because it needs to be running. Let me put it on 12 volts. Let me put it on power. I think we got a brand new battery too. So we got a ground and power. Another ground. Yeah. It's not gonna, oh, there you go. It changed. Yep, it changed. So once I hit it with some power, it maxed all the way out to 350 grams per second. Yeah, we just need a mass airflow sensor. That's all we need. So inadvertently, I checked the grounds looking for that signal side because it illuminated on a couple of those pins. So I'm on 12 volts now. There's the ground. There's the ground. This is our 12 volts here. 12, ground, ground. And this probably is a signal for the intake air, I guess, but that's definitely going to be our signal for our heating element. This just needs a mass airflow sensor. Because again, I blew through it and it didn't work. Typically when I get mass airflow sensors and I blow them off, they work. Let me disconnect this. 10 millimeter, 10 millimeter. I wonder, like, it's not gonna, I mean, I don't know what vehicle has a mass airflow sensor that don't operate when the key is on, engine off. I haven't seen it yet, and it looks new, and it is aftermarket. There's no name on here. There's nothing. I can blow in it and it'll change state from the air temp. Let me I'm gonna hit it. I know you're not supposed to. I'm gonna hit it with some brake clean to lower the air temp. So it's at 80. It should drop it down to 70s. Why is this thing? Yep, it dropped down to 66. But the volume didn't change. This part is just bad. It just need a new mass airflow. I got my money on this thing here. Bad brand new part. So I just got back from the part store, but the owner, the shop, when they got their own part, they got their own account. They also shop at the part store, so they frequently patronize O'Reilly's, just like I do, I'd imagine. And here's the part. This is a Blue Streak, very questionable part. I've had all parts fail. I'm not saying this will or will not. So pulling this out and observing the part, there's no real insignia from the manufacturer showing that there's some uniqueness, like making it remotely close to I'll say aftermarket, making it remotely close to factory look. It's still like a generic part. There's a QR code there. There's no other engravements from Blue Streak showing it's superior. So what's this? This is glue. Oh, like a glue there. Either way. So I'm gonna go back to live data. We're gonna pull that up. We're gonna go to the mass airflow sensor and see what happens when I plug this in. Even though I know for a fact this is it, going through a process of deduction, what if I'm wrong? And if I'm wrong, then obviously there's something that I did not check. And I just basically check for powers and grounds. I know I have a signal unless there's a different power source. I will say, when I wound up pulling wiring diagrams off camera, and when I did that, it showed there was only one power source. We'll see. See what happens. Just let it populate, and yeah, let me see if it changes. Oh, so it dropped in value. Oh, look, now it's changing. See what I'm saying? They normally change. If you wave it, the value should change just like that. So, whew, I got lucky. Not lucky, but I knew what I was looking for. I just got nervous because it's like, what if? Because I'm just thinking about the extreme case. What if I'm wrong? What if I'm wrong? This needs an air filter too. I'm just going to let them know that it needs it. I'm not going to replace it. It's going to be an honorary mention. They just came here for a diagnosis, and I can fix it within a diagnostic cost. So they'll be responsible for all the other shit that's on here. Let me get one. So this was very easy. Let's start it up and see how it responds. Come on, come on, come on. What are you doing? Come on, what is happening? Work, damn it. It's all that fuel and stuff probably got it up in there. There we go. Disconnect the mass. No, yes. Come on. I just gotta burn all that fuel off. And I do need to clear the code out because it's probably got extreme fuel trims. Let me get this. Let me clear the code out. The mass airflow sensor's working. It's just probably the fuel trims. Let me, yeah. Let's clear the code out because it just, like, cars can't unlearn itself. They just adapt. Yeah, so we got mass airflow volume code. Let's clear it out and see if it corrects. Yeah, let me cut it off. So it only acclimates, it only adjusts in a ascending fashion. It can't backpedal, it can't unlearn itself. So the cars are not that intelligent. What in the world? I gotta make sure the air filter is not the culprit. Problem is they replaced so much stuff on it. Like, what did it screw up now that everything's working normal? Let me see if there's any codes that came about. I mean, the mass airflow, yeah, there's no codes. What did they do? Oh my gosh. Could the throttle position sensor be out of calibration? Because I saw a throttle position sensor in the car, but it revved fine without all that stuff, but the adjustments for the throttle plate may be off. I don't know. Dang it. Oh shit, why in the world? What are we doing? We have value from the mass airflow. Let's go back here. Gosh, this is the problem. Uh-oh. What's up with that? Did it burn itself out? What in the world? Look at the value went back. It went back to 0.37 grams per second. Did it burn the mass airflow sensor out? That's wild. That is wild. Okay. It's probably a default because it's in its tunnel, its cavity, with 3.7, but it moved up to 6 grams per second. Let me see if I can keep it running, then we'll look at some numbers. So it's like it's running rich because I can smell all the fuel. And once it gets over a certain RPM, and then it accepts it. The only other thing I could look at, because when they put a bunch of new stuff, there's no oxygen sensor value. What's up with that? If there's no oxygen sensor value, the car can't run like it's supposed to. Throttle position needs to be at 14. I'm letting off the throttle slowly. Where we at? 13, 14. Okay, that's normal. Now I don't have any oxygen sensor voltage. I need oxygen sensor voltage because it needs to know what's going in and going out. What in the world happened in regards to the O2 sensor voltage? So once I find out where the issue is with that, then we can proceed. But we got information going in now. We need the information coming out. Let me let the shop know, and I'll have to proceed with diagnosing this. As soon as I got off, the check engine light came on, and the oxygen sensor started to move. Let's see what the check engine light's on for before I make a phone call. It's got to be oxygen sensor related. Knock sensor vibration, yeah, but the knock sensor is probably going to be related to, yeah, that's two codes. It's going to be related to the fact that it's just not running proper. Yeah, we need oxygen sensors. We need to have those, and if we don't have those, the vehicle can't. The fuel trim, yep, look at this, overly compensating, short term, long term, and it's just going to go extreme. The only reason why it's working is because the engine's warming up. So yeah, let me make a phone call. So I called the shop, told them what we're dealing with, and so we're gonna proceed with trying to get this other stuff taken care of. So he did say that it ran fine and it just stalled on him and didn't want to work anymore. So strangely right now, when it's warm, it's fine. It just, I wonder. I don't know. Could have been something that they did putting a fuel pump in it. But I need to see if the oxygen sensor can work. That's what's most important. I don't want to chase my ass on this, because remember when we disconnected the mass airflow, it worked. Okay, so I'm not going to chase my ass with the fuel system, because the fuel system responds in a default fashion. Let me pull a wiring diagram, check out why these O2 sensors aren't working. I'm gonna go to the easiest one possible, whatever's the most accessible. And if I can fix one, I should be able to fix them all. Hopefully we're just dealing with a blown fuse. So the car's been running fine for about 15 minutes. I started to go under. If I can get to, this is the wire here. This is where I need to be. All right, I don't know how that lighting is gonna work. So what's happening, we're on the driver's side. I was under the car, but being that the upstream was so close to the exhaust manifold, I'm like, I need to work comfortably, because there's no specific sensor I need to be at. I just need to make sure if one worked, then all of them should maybe have something in common. So I went to something that's comfortable and easy, and we're on the driver's side, pedals right there. Just pulled the insulation or the carpet away from the transmission well here, and here we are. So I'm going to check for the heating circuit, but first thing I'm gonna do, I got my PIDs isolated. They're still at 0 volts. Don't know which bank I'm on. I got them both pulled up. I'm gonna pull this connector and hope that it goes to default, and it didn't change. The voltage is still the same for downstream. I'm gonna just do a resistance test for the heating circuit. I just find it hard to believe that all these sensors are screwed up. I could also get a test light, a multimeter, check for bias voltage, because we should be seeing 4.5 volts on the brown wire. I think it's the brown. Either way, I'm gonna look for 4.5 volts. I think that's the first thing I should do, because we need output for input. Let's do that. I got some notes here. So I'm looking for red being signal for the oxygen sensor, brown is ground, gray is heater, and that should be the control, the gray heater control, and black and red is battery positive. So I really want to know about the voltage first. My the vehicle's ability to signal, retrieve a signal. So that's going to be the red. Is it red on here? So there's a brown is ground, red and black was battery positive. I'm gonna have to go through the process of deduction here. So white must be my signal then. There's a gray, heater, black and red, brown. So this must be the white. So I must be on the opposing bank of what I wound up looking at. So let's see if there's any like bias voltage 4.5 value. Let me see if I can get this set up. Something flew in my face. Oh wait, I was on the wrong thing. I'm so stupid. Ignore me. I make mistakes. So it is what it is. Let's start over. All right. I made mistakes. I had it on resistance and I was looking for a ground. So logically, we should, brown is going to be ground here. So I should see white 4.450 mil. Nope, it doesn't. It still don't even have it. Let's see if I'm on a ground or if I can find 12 volts. So there's 12 volts. So 12 volts in ground correspond. I got my leads hooked up properly here. So I am on ground and I'm on 12 volts. So that means we may have some issues with our signal side. We might have to go to the PCM. So I'm looking for 450 millivolts and there's none. The computer don't even display that. So let me see if this is active voltage. I'm just curious. And while I'm here, well, I need to tap into the voltage. Let me see, I don't know if I can. So yeah, it is live voltage. Okay, let me tap into the live voltage here with a jumper, and then I'm gonna put that on my signaling side and see if it changed in the PCM. So that's one thing I like about the old cars there. The pins are big. All right, let's change this to this. And I'm just gonna pierce into the 12 volts and see if my value increases. So we're on a signal. And we're gonna go to 12 volts. Yep, it went straight to 1.25, but let me show you that. Let's hit this with 12 volts. Where are you doing? There you go. So it populated. You see the bottom left went to 1.275 volts. So our signal side works. The problem is why we don't have bias voltage. It's looking like the computer probably has failed, being that we don't have bias voltage displaying. So naturally it should just go to a default reading. It should go to a default value. I don't have any other explanation as to why it wouldn't, being that that's the standard where the oxygen sensor need to oscillate between. And all four of them being bad, no. I even got it disconnected and it didn't go to default. So the computer is looking like it's going to be the culprit in this particular case. I haven't looked at factory data or factory information as far as if there was any case studies revolving around this particular problem, but this is exactly what it looked like. It's going to be a computer problem. We need bias voltage when the component is detached from the signaling side, unless there's a common theme with the bias voltage, but it shouldn't be. Why would all of them be on the same signaling side? They're all going to have their own individual signaling bias signaling voltage. So yeah, that what I'm thinking doesn't even make sense. There's not going to be a common theme. We have our powers, we have our grounds for our heating circuit. We can test the oxygen sensor heater circuit, doesn't do anything. But because our main focus is on this signaling side here, why don't we have signal? I can command signal through a test light, force it, but after that, it's not. It's not changing. Let me read some information. Hopefully, if I can find a case study related to this, and it's probably a key to this that I'm not understanding and I'm not familiar with. All right, I need to cover my bases here. I'm hooked up on the oxygen sensor itself, so I'm the computer basically sensing the signaling side. I'm grounded out here, and I'm on the signal side, so I'm reading what the oxygen sensor is presenting us. And if I do a snap throttle lean right now, it'll go positive. Let me see if I can max it out. That's the minimum. Max right here. It's probably not going to hold it long enough to read it. Let's go ahead and start over. So I'm going to put a supplemental fuel inside the throttle body and see if it changes, and we should get a rich reading. So yeah, you see how it went rich. It started to show, it's like it tried to display on the downstream sensor, but it didn't hold. I don't, this is tough. I need to, let me get out in the engine bay and watch all the sensors to see how it responds when I create a rich condition. See, they all change. It went rich. It responded then when you give it a lot of fuel, but then it, as soon as the fuel is gone, it stops. So I can force it rich if it has flow, and it changes in the computer. The sensor just doesn't seem to be the sensors don't seem to be sensitive enough to read it for some strange reason down low. Maybe, okay, let me slow down for a little bit. I think I'm getting ahead of myself. Maybe what's happening, we have a legitimate lean condition, and there's some other external factor causing it, and not all four sensors or computer. Let me slow down for a minute, because if I can change the state and make them all rich, I highly doubt all those sensors are screwed up. There's a global problem creating lean conditions, because we got it running, unless there was an incompatible part. So me checking the sensor just and forcing a rich condition reinforces the idea these sensors are working. Something globally is causing a lean condition. I have to figure out why. So the injectors look fine. I thought they were different. I didn't get a part number, but I saw they had like some insulation cover around it. So I'm gonna ignore that for now, because the main thing I need to do is check fuel quality and fuel pressure, because I'm kind of desperate right now, because the issue is global. There's no vacuum leaks, and well, what's causing this thing to run lean and starve for fuel? They put a new fuel pump in it twice. So did they put a bad new one in there, contaminate the fuel, or did somebody originally try to sabotage the car anyway? So I gotta look for that, because I've had that happen. So I'm gonna take a fuel sample and see how that looks. Am I going the right way? I'm gonna try to get this softened out. prop it up while I get a sample. I need to, if the fuel looks fine, then I need to check pressure. So I would expect it to have pressure and contain pressure when I pull that line off, but it didn't, and that raises a concern. In the moment, I'm going to take this and measure the water content, but I do need to rig something up to check fuel pressure. I literally thought I was recording when I had this set up, but I got half of it. I got the bottle filled to the line here with water, and I fill the rest up with gas. And we're gonna close it up, shake it up. I'm gonna let it sit while I construct something for measuring the fuel pressure. And I'm just gonna do it at a dead stop. I'm not gonna worry about with the injectors hooked up or anything. So I'm just gonna measure it here. Just put a hose clamp on it, measure the deadhead fuel pressure. Gas is strong. Let's see what the fuel pressure is. Typically on a fuel injected vehicle, they need to be around 45 to 50. Oh gosh, why this thing is steel? So we're gonna know in a second. What? Huh? And this, what was it? And it bled off. Something happened back there, and it's human error. Hold on. Yeah, oh gosh, and it bleeds right off. We need to go back where they put this fuel pump in, because that's going to be the other half of our problem. I started to take the line off, but I said, you know, let me put it back on there, because I don't know how the fuel pump is set up, but I do need to check it after if it's something I can fix back there, get it fixed. So we do have the old fuel pump, but we have the new fuel pump, and I'm thinking, I don't know how it was designed, but if they put a fuel pump in there and didn't tighten down the inlet line or the output line from the fuel pump, this is probably going to cause it to bleed off. And I don't know if it's an assembly or pump, but let me just take a look. So I assume the fuel pump is here because this looked like a level sending unit on the other side. I'm gonna need like a 12 millimeter. Nope, thought it was a 12. This gotta be it. I can't imagine it being anything else. So this line looks fine, but it, again, it's bleeding off, and it shouldn't be bleeding off. How do you take this off here? Just got a lock on it. All right, see what we got. Oh, I don't know if that's gonna be the problem or not, but let's see. So we got a fuel pressure regulator down there, and this is the. So what's this? A return line? Unless it's a saddle onto the saddlebag tank. This was sitting a little low, but I don't think that's gonna make any difference. Oh,
I think I found it. I don't know if they changed the pump, but this is okay. This is the used one. And I don't know if they changed the pump separately or if they got the whole assembly, but the pump itself looks new with the strainer. So we might just be dealing with human. Yeah, look at that. It's very loose. It's not. There's no resistance here, and you can see. Look at that. It's just flopping up in there. See the brass fitting? Just floating up in there. Let's take it apart. So in regards to our alcohol content, it was at 10% ethanol. So we're fine with the alcohol. So we're able to move on and look for other things. Could be. Yeah, look at that. There's no seal. There's no seal around this fuel pump. It just sits in there. Whatever's supposed to go in here, yeah, look at that. No seal. The seal is right here. Something else is supposed to go inside of here and seal this, unless it's supposed to go further up. And this grommet is supposed to sit in that housing there. Let me see. Like it's supposed to get pushed in. Something else there. Something's not right. I don't know what it looks like before, but there's obviously something missing. Let me call the owner or the shop, let them know what I found out. We should have this thing fixed. So the owner bought a fuel pump, but it did not come with the things I need, because something is supposed to go on here. And I went on Rock Auto and I saw like there was a collar and some other plastic fittings that need to go on here, and we ain't got it. And what he bought don't have it. And this is kind of a problem. People buy their own stuff, but I don't think this is going to work. But if I slide the hose on here, it'll produce its own seal. And this hose fits inside the cavity pretty snug. So if I cut it just right and slide it in there, it'll create its own barrier, and the plastic enclosure is going to hold it in place. That's the only thing I could think of in this situation. It's not right, but this whole situation ain't right now. And if it holds pressure, I'm gonna leave it alone, because it has a real snug fit in there. And if that portion that's flaring out, if it can seal that, I'm over it. That's how I'm feeling right now. Let me get this mopped up some way, because I know it'll work. I have confidence in this working. This is not right. I completely understand. I just gotta get my measurements correct doing this. So let me figure how I'm gonna measure this. I'm gonna put a mark at the base. Now there was something else in there, because I don't want to have it so far down. I want to have it so far down that it's there's supposed to be a grommet down there. This whole situation ain't right, but I think it'll work. So I can mark it here, put the hose in there, mark it there, and cut the appropriate area. Mark it here. Pull it out. So mark it there. Put the hose in there. So the plan is I can mark it here where it bases. And then when I put the hose in there, then I'll have a top portion, just cut in that area. I'll think it through when I get it. Push that down in there. Mark that area. So that's where that base, and then I'll cut it down here, right there. And when I base this, when this bottom out, this is the bottom, this is the top here. And it's gonna leave a little bit more room for the plastic to push up against there. So I'm gonna cut it like around here. I'm gonna cut a little more than what I need, so I'm gonna go down a little bit more. I'd rather cut a little more than a little less. I know it ain't straight. Go out here. Push this together. The word of seal. Logically, this is supposed to work. And I expect me to have to make some accommodations. Don't like it, but this is a snug fit here. How long it's gonna last, I don't know. But I know for a fact this got a good seal now. I know for a fact this is definitely not gonna leak. Park shooter special. Got the pump back in there, and I understand it's not right, but based off of how the pressure operate and in its ability to contain the pressure and the circumstances I'm dealing with, I had no choice. So the main thing, we need to see if it's going to hold pressure or not. But before, it would only go to 30 psi and just drop off. We should have good pressure now, and it should hold, because my patch jobs work. That's how that works. Oh yeah. Are we holding? Oh hell yeah. Look at that. And it works. Huh. Wow. A patch job worked. Let me see, was it holding well? Yeah, it's dying off. But as long as the pump's working, it should constantly hold, right? Let's see what it drops off to. It's holding right around 38. Let me give it a couple minutes and see how it do. It ain't been but literally 2 minutes. And this is where we're at now. So I don't know where it was before, but it's up there. It's holding. Let me pull this off and we should be fixed. No more codes. Let's go to the live data and go to our oxygen sensors. See what happens. Here we go. Sounds better. Starts up really good too. What if the oxygen sensors don't change? Oh, there you go. Yeah, there we go. There we go. There we go. Because I was about to say, what if they don't change, and but it runs better? And that's not the case right now because we're working short-term fuel trim. We're making accommodations. 7%. I'm gonna see how a snap throttle gets taken. Still adding 20% though. This car probably had a lot of pre-existing problems though, but the thing is we're getting close. Our sensors are moving. Still lean. It's a patch repair. Way better. Man, I'm gonna be honest. It's still a little leaner. Only thing I can do is tell them like, hey, look, to fix it right, it need a fuel pump assembly, but it came in on a tow truck. It's gonna leave driving. The oxygen sensor, maybe once they warm up, they'll start fluctuating. I might be wrong, because I mean, we might be in decent shape. Yeah, let's give it a minute, let it reach normal operating temperature. Because we're not even intake, coolant temperature is not even in closed loop yet. It's still in open loop. Okay. So, it's the same lesson that gets learned on a regular basis when, even if it's a shop. I mean, they're human. If we have an issue, we should isolate, assess the situation, and tackle it from there. We should not just willy-nilly throw parts at it, because just like in this situation, as many others, you know, we throw parts at it and we inadvertently create more problems than none. So it's in closed loop status right now. And we're still adding 19% short term. I don't know how aggressive that is. If that's out of spec. Some cars have a wider range, but typically you want less than 10%, especially 15%. Oxygen sensors they still are kind of going lean, but this thing might have pre-existing problems. It's a 2000. So check engine light can stay on, and it's not going to affect the inspection. Here in North Carolina, anything 20 years, you're fine. In well, not North Carolina, well, here where I am, you know, in 20 years. So 2004 and up needs emissions. 2004 and below needs only safety. So this vehicle only needs safety. Check engine light can be on all day, but the main thing is it runs and it has power. What are we doing? Yeah, so we're fine. Okay, I'm gonna let it sit in idle, and I'm gonna talk. So, but just like any other time, like we start throwing stuff at it and we create problems, and that's what happened in this situation. I hate that I had to patch this job up, and again, I'm just gonna let the owner know, or the shop know, like, look, it needs a fuel pump assembly to do it right, and I'm pretty sure that because they happen to pay me to do this, they're losing money. They got tired of being in the shop. I need this fixed. Call Brad. So here I am. So it was interesting. That was fun. They messed it up for several days, and I got it for an hour, 2 hours. Easy diagnosis, easy repair. Hopefully we can all take something away from this.
But if anything happened, I'll definitely update. Hit that link, subscribe to the channel, stay informed, had everything from my work. See you on next one.